What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what is really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is up slightly, 0.83%, but green is green, 472 the high, 459 the low, and just shy of around 19 million shares being traded. So we are seeing fairly low volume, which is resulting in kind of this being a boring day. But in all fairness, institutions don't really want to do too much because the market is closed on Monday on a side note. And so institutions don't really want to buy or make any big commitment going into a long weekend when there's a lot of gray things stuck in limbo, such as Iran and Greenland, which over the weekend could really escalate, even though we did see Trump mentioning that he's convinced himself to hold off on Iran strikes. So at the end of the day, market's kind of taking this as a positive, but nonetheless, institutions are still very, very cautious. Nothing really coming out on a macro standpoint. Specific to NIO, there's not really much news either, but coming from a larger EV standpoint, there was this that did come out. So even though yesterday in my video, based on some of the wording that was used, it was fair to assume that Canada wasn't going to come to any deal. But turns out they did, which is always a positive. So Canada inks trade deal with China on break of Trump agenda. So in reality, Canada lowered the tariffs from 100% down to 6%, but it is only for 49,000 vehicles. I know a lot of people are saying that's not too much and blah, 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 and I do tend to agree, but there is a lot of Canadians, myself included, very much interested in Chinese EV because of the price point. You can't argue and debate that. Like anything that the States provides is like you can buy for a fraction of the cost from China. So you have that component, plus it does have some fairly good tech. So I think all in all, Canadian government is going to realize that and increase that 49,000 to potentially higher, maybe triple digit, or just wipe off that limit altogether. So in general, I think this is a good starting point and most likely is going to really open up opportunities for Chinese EVs, including NIO and many others. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. So this will be another area that NIO can really kind of integrate and start to plan expansion towards, because I know lately they've been really focusing on Europe. So a lot of untapped potential there, but same goes for Canada, because I think pretty much right now the only Canadian within Canada is like Tesla. Occasionally you see like a Rivian or maybe even a Lucid, but nothing significant in my opinion. But getting right to shorts, shorts are returning about 210,000 shares, 8.17% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 166 million shares overall being shorted. So you do still see some signs of naked shorting. Most likely institutions did buy yesterday for the purposes of lending out stock. And the reason why I know that occurred is because shares on loan jumped to more than 100 million. So most likely institutions did buy, and that's why it kind of went up. So at the end of the day, maybe it's a good thing, bad thing that institutions bought yesterday, really pushing NIO higher, but still some signs of naked shorting is occurring because about 166 million shares being shorted, 102 being on loan. Shouldn't have that happen. DTC being at 3.63 days really does signal that shorts are overextended. A little bit low for the volume though, based on the options. So 3.1 million in calls, 1.4 in puts. 56% of all the options being done are so far bullish in nature. And I look at a lot of different stocks throughout the trading day, and most of them, actually I think all so far that I've looked at, are bearish. So NIO definitely is the outlier, so that's kind of a good thing. With today being Friday, you have this for open interest. It would have been advantageous for NIO to close above 5 because there would have been 118,000 in open interest. But given where it's at, it is fair to assume that the 450 and below strike prices are going to be in the money. So you have 24,000 at the 450, 67,000 at the 4, 14,000 at the 350, and then 12,000 at the 3. So most likely you'll be seeing some abnormal activity on either the dark pool or secondary market above $100,000. As market makers, we'll have to cover that. So that'll be a pretty good bump up going into next week. So on Tuesday when the market does open. On the secondary market, only one transaction, and unfortunately it is a sell for 204,000. Dark pool seems to be a little bit more active, but again, after hours, that's where you could see some things really start to heat up. With it right now at 469, it is starting to really move higher, but then basically the next key level to watch for is going to be that 477, and if it's able to get above that, then in theory 493 is going to be the next strong target. Most likely that is going to be Tuesdays and next week's type of problems and stuff to watch for. Flip side, 461 is going to be the next strong support, and it kind of bounced off of that general area, so 459 being the low for today. Aside from all that, quickly popping back over here, so it is oddly enough starting to recover, which is a good thing. Again, having NIO being the outlier, most stocks are actually consolidating. Dow is in fact in the red right now, but nonetheless, NIO still not the greatest looking chart because it is below the 10-day moving average. Same as yesterday. Yesterday was good to see it actually being in the green, but it still needs to get above that 10-day moving average, and that is right now sitting at 472. So best case scenario actually is able to muster up the strength to get above that. Stochastic RSI is extremely oversold, so a good piece of news. You could see a nice push higher because of that. So all in all, I think that might be a positive thing. No new analyst ratings on a side note, maybe because of the whole Canadian deal tariff reduction. That might prompt some analyst ratings, but honestly, I wouldn't really hold my breath, only because aside from a query, we haven't really had any analysts really caring about NIO whatsoever. But nonetheless, I still do believe big things are going to be coming. So let me know your viewpoint on NIO. Are you buying? Are you selling? What are you generally doing with NIO? And then one final thing, if you're looking for some solid on-point buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, pop over to my Patreon. I put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Many of the day trades, in fact, for today have gone up some triple digit, some are just absolutely on point, so worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. In fact, I have a promotion up until the end of this weekend where it is only $10 a month, and if you get in, it will never increase whatsoever. So pop over there, check that out, link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.